I met Eline De Munck when she was an ambitious young woman who wanted to become an actress and a singer. She has a great talent for putting products in the market, and for years she marketed herself with her personal brand and became a well known Belgian influencer. Now, in most recent years, Eline no longer acts, but co founded the eyewear brand Odettes Lunettes. The company has 5 concept stores and sells worldwide, with celebrities like Ben Affleck wearing her glasses and winning the award Silma d'Or. Eline has become a successful entrepreneur. So I hope you enjoy the conversation. Welcome to the Own Your Story podcast, the place to learn about personality branding, thought leadership, and how to capitalize your reputation. In other words, how to own your story. I'm your host, Ianka, former actress turned into 6-figure entrepreneur, author, and keynote speaker. Let's get started. I think it's 13 or almost 14 years ago that we've been together on a set for a television series, Louis Louise. Yes. So that was the first and the only time we worked together, but very intense, almost a year. And I've been following you ever since. But let me take you back to that time, that year of recording Louis Louise, which was a very, very intense production, very tough to work on. So who was Eline De Munck at that time?
I didn't feel at ease in that environment. I was surrounded by wonderful actors who were inspired by it since they were children, and they studied for it, and they knew everything about the big theaters and the big plays, and they did theater besides the TV as well. And I was just one lucky child in a candy store. It just happened. It was not really something that was my goal, but it was really, really nice to be on the set. But I felt like, what am I doing around all these magnificent actors who dream about this since they were young, and who really have this dream? I felt that it was not my dream at that moment, and I felt a little bit guilty about taking that spot and lacking even the talent for doing it. It was a lot of fun, and I threw myself in it, but I didn't. It was not my place to be there. This was my.
But how come you were there? So I just thought you were a very young actress, just starting out, who was very ambitious, very talented, because you were not only acting, you were also singing, and you wanted to present things. So you were a multi-potentialite. So didn't you want to act?
Sometimes you need to choose a little bit, and I felt that it was my chance to explore if acting was really something for me. And I never put all my money in bet all my money on one horse, or how do they say it? I never did that in my life, and I think the word that you launched here as well is very ambitious. I was always very ambitious. I'm ambitious in life. I want to explore things, and I want to accomplish things, and I want to. Well, I don't want to fail in things, but I want to experience that I need to experience that I am on top of things. And when I get the feeling that I'm not the best, or that someone else could be better in the seat that I'm in, then I don't want to be in the seat anymore, because then I feel that it's not.
Oh yeah, then you want to move on.
Then I don't deserve it. I don't deserve to be there. And this was a little bit also the feeling that I had with Louis Louise. It was really nice, and it was an amazing experience. But it was also really hardworking, leaving each morning at 6 o'clock and arriving back at home at 7, and then still need to study all the lines. And because it was a big part, you were number 2 or number.
Yes, I was number 2.
Yeah.
Yes,
and I was
for our listeners, because people don't know how that works. So when you're an actor, when you perform in a television series, every character has a number. And when you're in the top 5, that means you are you are part of the main character's crew. But that also means that you have the hardest job to play. And indeed, in
Yes.
Louis Louise, I was second in row, because number 1 was Hilde de Baardemaker, who played the real main role. And it was a real tough series to work on. It was a very tough year of my life as well, as a mom and as an artist as well. So after
Mhm.
that, you kind of quit acting, or you
I
just.
kind of did, yeah. I didn't do acting anymore afterwards. Maybe like the a guest part in like in for one episode of a series, but
Mhm,
nothing big, nothing important. And I focused more on hosting. So I started to
mhm,
do more presentation jobs where I felt more at ease. It was more my thing, and singing as well. But then after a couple of years, I also had the experience that there were people better at that job than me, and I didn't want to have that feeling, and I started to
yeah,
feel also a little bit. I started to feel the competition, and it grew on me like this a little bit the negative vibe of wanting something and not and feeling bad that you didn't get the job and I had to quit. I felt like I don't want to be in this. I don't want to do this to
yeah,
myself. I don't want to become this
yeah.
woman. So I'm gonna quit
So
in
did you
television.
had any idea of what you were looking for? Because every time you threw yourself into this new environment, this new experience, adventure, you gave your best, and then you find out, no, this is not my place. Did you had any idea of what you were looking for in one way or another?
Oh, well, I didn't think of it like that, like what I was looking for. I more did it the other way around. Like, what is it that I'm good at actually? What do I find back in all the things that I've done? What was my talent in all the things that I have done so far? And I found out that it was putting something in the market, and I always
Hmm.
did it with myself. I always put myself out there, and I threw myself into new adventures, and without compromising on anything, and without holding back on anything. Um, and I didn't want to do that with myself anymore. I didn't want to put myself as a marketing tool out there, where you can shoot
Yeah.
at and everybody has an opinion about that. I didn't. It felt like I wasn't a person anymore sometimes. So I
So
wanted
at
to.
what time, what period of your life are you now talking? Is that the period you're an influencer, or when you started
No,
with Odette Lunettes?
no, I was starting. I was almost. I think I was working over 5 years at Gym TV at that moment, and I did one show for VTM. On Lemmes was pregnant, and I covered for her for So You Think You Can Dance, and I was invited by the TV channel director from VTM to have a talk, and I asked like, so what are the plans? And he was like, yeah, we don't have anything particular at this moment, but you just stay where you are at gym, and then things will come. And I felt like, oh, you're not giving me feedback on what I'm doing, so if you would be very happy, you would give me good feedback. So you're not very happy, and I'm not gonna put all my trust or all my life in your hands. I'm
Hmm.
not going to wait. And then I decided to quit. So a couple of days later, I said, I'm done here. I stopped working here for the channel. They didn't
Yeah.
expect that at all. But I need to jump sometimes. This is something that really sticks with my personality. I don't really I can't imagine what a new life looks like if I don't throw away the other the other one.
Yeah.
So this is how I
Yeah.
roll. This is my MO in life. So
Yeah. So that was, I think, the last time you had a boss.
yes, indeed.
Yes, because after that period, you started working for yourself. You became an influencer, and again, you became very known for that. You were putting yourself in the market again,
Mhm.
in a great way. I saw your Instagram feeds, and I was so, how she does that. You can wear literally everything. Everything suits you. This is incredible. So, and then you start Odettes Lunettes, and you turn one of your frustrations into a blossoming company. But again,
Mm-mm.
you're the face of Odettes Lunettes. So you cannot escape your personal branding. You cannot escape putting yourself in the front line and becoming the face of something. How does that feel? And why did you do that again?
Because I believe that people need to engage with other people, and it's much more easy if you understand who the founders or the people behind the ideas or the brands are, so you can really relate with that. It's like going to the bakery. If I go and get my croissant in just the supermarkets, or I get them at an independent bakery store, and I see the people who are working there. I feel that they're connected to the core of the company. It makes me much more happy to spend my money there. So
Mhm.
for me, it was very important that it was not someone from television starting a brand, but that it was very clear that I had a deep rooted frustration that I shared with a lot of people apparently, because when I was working on television, I was thinking about starting the brand, because I started wearing eyewear on television, and there was no young woman on television wearing eyewear, like no one. So it felt like um, it felt like a risk starting to
Yeah.
wear eyewear, and I made it my USP, my unique selling point. I really wanted to be that girl with the eyewear, and there were so many people engaging, like sending emails or replying on my Instagram, or like, oh, where did you get your glasses from? I don't like wearing glasses, but the way you launch the idea of eyewear being a fashion item, of being not only a necessity but an accessory as well, like jewelry on your face. It was more the storytelling all around it, and I really felt the
Mhm.
in me, like the want of help to help these people to launch not only a product but a certain lifestyle where people could engage with, and something that gave you confidence and power and literally and figuratively your strength. So that was
Mhm.
important for me to, because I felt the
Yeah.
same. I felt the same thing. So, and I think when you're an entrepreneur or you want to do something, 1 plus 1 always needs to be at least 3, but better even 11. So if otherwise you need to play your strengths, and this was my strength, that I had a face that I could use, and this time it was
Yeah.
under my decision, and my construction, and how I wanted it. So not
Yeah.
anyone telling me or putting me in a certain box or telling me what to do. It was my story that I could tell and share. So it didn't feel like putting myself out there or using myself as marketing. It felt like a really authentic, true base of a company.
Yeah. So the fact that wearing glasses is your story of life made it easier for you to be that TV celebrity, a radio celebrity turned into entrepreneur, which is very fashionable. Oh, they're doing it again, and to resist all the critics and the comments, because this is your life story, and this makes you stronger than the comments that you could get of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also it's eyewear. It's not a product like there are a lot of people starting fashion,
Yes.
which I also
Hmm.
did, by the way. But eyewear is much more specific. So people were like, "Oh, what is she doing? Starting an eyewear label? This is we didn't see that one coming, and that's not. It's not a normal, or it's not an something that you would think of, or that they would think of." So it was immediately. I felt like there was like this tongue in cheek experience
Hmm.
with viewers, like, "Oh, this is interesting. This is nice." So there was a positive atmosphere around the whole
Yeah.
brand because it was
Hmm.
unexpected and it was really nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So in the beginning of Odette Lunette, you were especially the face of the brand, but I
Mhm.
still saw you singing. I still saw you hosting events. You were still an influencer, wearing brands, promoting brands. But now I have the idea that you're shifting into this full time entrepreneur and really focusing on that. Still being the face of the brand, but leaving the other things, other roles a bit at the side. Am I correct in that opinion, or am I
Well,
saying it wrong?
no, not entirely. I was always completely focused on the company, but of course, the company was small and ran by me and my partner, the other founder, who was a TV director at the moment. I worked at Gym TV, and we started the company together. So we make all our video and pictures. We make everything in house, all the marketing. This is an advantage that we can bring forward. But it was always something that I put all my effort in. But because the company was small and some I was already working for some years, so some people buy a nice car or they go on a vacation around the world. So I invested my money in a company,
Hmm.
and we wanted the company to grow faster. So we kept on investing the money in the company and didn't pay ourselves for the work that we were doing.
Yeah.
So I still needed to do other jobs to be able to live.
Hmm.
And it also kept me in the position to promote the brand. Sometimes I had this comment on a TV show in Belgium, the Ideale Wereld. They were like, "Oh, this girl, she's like nonstop talking about her glasses," and and it's true because I really believe in preach what you practice more even than practice what you preach. Why should you practice
Hmm.
what you preach? You
Hmm.
should preach what you practice and tell people about what you're doing and believe in your brand,
Yeah.
in what you do, and in because in my case it's an extension of myself.
Yeah.
Of the,
Yeah. What was the hardest thing you had to learn in becoming an entrepreneur?
um, that people didn't took me serious because I was that girl from TV, and it's like, oh, and she did a
Hmm.
little bit of everything, and she always was everywhere and trying to grab some attention to stay alive in that scene, in that world. Um, so I was a very colored figure when I was still working for television. Everybody had an opinion. It was you either didn't like me
Hmm.
at all or you liked me, but there was not really something in between. It was really the haters and the lovers, and that shifted when I started working for television. But of course, a lot of people still had the opinion like, "Oh, she's just a face of the brand." And actually, I'm a little bit disgusted by this sometimes because I was um, selected for a women entrepreneur award, quite a big one,
Hmm.
a Belgian one. and I went to do the presentation, and I did the talk with everybody who was in the judges from the competition. And afterwards, they called me and they're like, "Oh, we didn't select you, but we were very impressed with the knowledge that you have from your company." And I was like, I
Excuse
hung
me.
up the phone and I started crying immediately. It was because it felt like they were just humiliating me. It was like one of the most humiliating things that someone ever said. Actually, like, how can you say something like that? It's my company. Of course, I know everything about my company. I'm the founder and the the CEO of the company.
Hmm.
So of course I do all the daily operations, and I know what my company stands for. So this sometimes I still have that. Um, yeah, I don't know how to say that. That vooroordeel. I don't know the word.
Yeah. Vooroordeel.
It's that's vooroordeel. If people in English are, they should look it up.
Yeah. And now Odette Lunette is going worldwide. You're going
Yeah, we're
international.
yeah we are in around 30 countries at the moment, with distribution and agents and external agents, internal agents, and we have five flagship stores in the Flemish part of Belgium. And the goal is to keep on scaling, of course. So the
Mhm.
startup phase is long behind us. It really feels like this is the big scale up phase, and it's a completely different company than it was a couple of
Mhm.
years ago. Now there are investors in the company, and there's a board, and it's about numbers, and it's more rational, less emotional.
Yeah. And does that fit your personality?
Oh, I don't. I think so. Actually, yeah. I'm a very emotional person, but I also like my structure and my figures to be correct. I don't like it if things are not correct, and so I think it does suit me, and I like the fact that I'm running the company, but we get good advice from people who are very experienced
Mhm.
in working with entrepreneurs and building companies. So I listen to them, and I try to do the best that I can. I'm still very ambitious, and I want to. But sometimes I try to do everything myself still, and I need to learn that that's not the best possible way. Like the
Yeah.
operations, I cannot follow up on all the operations, and steer the company in the right direction. So
Mhm.
it's important
And in
to
what way
weigh
do
that.
you work on that part of self development of creating this new, yeah, side of your personality, being the entrepreneur, letting things go, being able to delegate, but still stay true to who you are?
Mhm. This is a very difficult. I never had the feeling that sometimes when I do interviews and they ask like how is your work life balance, and
Hmm.
I never had the feeling that there was a balance. It was always only about work,
Hmm.
and that was my choice. So I was like, yeah, it feels pretty okay because I'm just only working, and all my relationships broke up.
Hmm.
Because I was not investing in it. I only invested in my company, in my work, and this is different now as well, of course. So I am I turned into another person already. I grew into a more mature version of myself, because my relationship is very important. I'm married. I'm having a baby. So this goes a little bit maybe hand in hand with the fact that I'm giving away as well, that the operations, and that I need to delegate and not
Hmm.
do everything myself. So I feel a little bit like that my personal life and my professional life goes in the same direction when it comes to that.
Yeah. Okay, last question, Eline. 2024 is the 7th year of Odettes Lunettes, or 8th,
We
or
started in 2015, so it's
okay,
going to be
9th.
9. It's going to be
9th.
9. Yeah,
Okay.
sorry, I'm not so good.
So
We're not so good at counting.
um, what do you want it to become for you and your company?
Good question. First of all, I want the people in our company to be enjoying their work, and we expect a lot from the people in the company because the you have a startup and a scale up, and then you have the companies which are like established. Um, and the startup doesn't really need structure. You can just choose to go along with what happens, and take every occasion as a new occasion. And then the established companies, they have structure for everything, but we're like right in the middle, so the structure needs to be built. If you have one store, then you don't really need a warranty policy. If you have 5 stores, you do, because a customer can go to your store in Knokke and say, "Oh, I want a warranty," and they maybe say no because the time is overdue. But then they go to Antwerp and then they say yes, it's okay. So we are working on structuring the company. We have manuals
Yeah.
with rules about how we rule the B2B and how we rule the B2C. So we're writing the blueprint of the company. Of course, there's already a blueprint, but it's like much more fun. The
Yeah.
fundamentals are deeper now, and we just want to grow with the company, with the right people.
Yeah.
And it's not, the times are not so easy for retail. The brick and
No.
mortar is, everything is more digital, and
Hmm.
we also see that a lot of VC, like venture capital, is coming into the eyewear industry. So they're buying independent optical stores, and they're forming groups. And if these groups don't want your product, then you might lose a lot of customers in the region that you're already in, because, or you need to give better, more discounts, better deals. So it's a very disruptive environment at the moment, and I'm curious
Yeah.
about what's
Yeah.
going to happen.
And there's this baby who is going to disrupt your life as well.
Yeah, I think
This
so.
year,
Yeah, but I'm
you
looking forward
you
to
will
that.
not. Yeah. So 2024, the year of disruption in the life and work of Eline De Munck. Thank you very much for being my guest.
I thank you, Yanka.